This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Hawaii. I'm here discussing conscious expansion with our featured author, whose writings express feelings and experiences that cannot be accurately spoken of, and that symbolize realities that are unknown in much of human consciousness. I'm joined here with the author, blogger, Kenneth. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Well, thank you very much for having invited me.
Let's start off a little bit about yourself. I mean, since early childhood, you've had a deep understanding of life, which, as you say, probably got you into a few awkward situations with those in authority. Share with me a little bit how this realization of the unseen world kind of all began for you.
Basically, my first memories of very early childhood, before I could even speak, were that I must be on the wrong planet because there's so much violence here and people don't seem to know what life is about. And I never really, I lived on a farm, and so I didn't really have much contact with people for a number of years and mostly lived outside. I never really adjusted to school because I became sort of socially deprived.
Much can be.
I didn't get programmed. I didn't get programmed the same way that most.
I would say so. I mean, out in the wilderness, if you will, that's going to give you a perspective that most people have never experienced before. I would say, would you say there is kind of a disconnect with others who do not have the same understanding that you do? Is there kind of a disconnect there many times?
Well, now I'm 81, so I have lived with people for a long time.
Obviously, you've been around some time. You've probably adjusted your life somewhat compared to back when you were a child. Can this understanding be learned? Can these energetic expressions be known by any of us who simply desire to pursue such an experience? Or is this a gift that is given to just a few people?
Well, some are more in touch with what we intuitively know than others, but it appears to me that we just need to be in touch with our inner knowing. And we have developed a lot of limiting beliefs about ourselves that keep us from being aware of that. And that's really the only real difference. And so we can become aware of our limiting beliefs about ourselves, and we can resolve them and let them go. And as we do that, then a greater sense of what's real.
Interesting. Is it safe to say we have maybe been taught false beliefs about who we are? But can we retrain ourselves and open our awareness to living in alignment with a higher consciousness? Is that possible to kind of retrain ourselves of maybe what we've been pre-programmed?
Yeah, we certainly can. There are many ways of doing that. One is deep meditation. Another one would be an out-of-body experience as a result of dying, which there is a lot of information about that these days, from people who have died mostly during surgeries. But it happened to me once in a head-on collision when I was out of my body for about a half hour and experienced an amazing realm beyond. And it really taught me that we're not limited to our physical bodies for our consciousness. Our consciousness expands tremendously once we leave the body. And recently, when my wife died too, I went with her for a while, and we danced in the ethers, and she just melted into my arms. And
Wow. I mean, to experience something like that, when did you realize that you could express your feelings and experiences through the written word?
well, I've always felt that I could write well, but my realization really opened up in 1920, the end of 19, but especially after we got restricted under the COVID regulations, and I had to stay home and really focus on what was within, because there wasn't much outside. And so I started.
A lot of people sat around, twiddled their thumbs, didn't know what to do. It sounds like you got really busy. I mean, your quantum energetics and spirituality books indicate that when we are completely in alignment with the heart of our being, there's a greater reality which really awaits us. Sadly, would you say, do most never ever even experience that in a lifetime?
I think that's been our history. We find this reality that we live in to be able to experience things that we could never know for sure in our essence, because we are unlimited in terms of our innate consciousness. And so we have expanded infinite consciousness by creating this compartment of consciousness that we live within, and we've designed it in such a way that it's almost impossible for us to realize what's beyond it. And the only way to do that really is through our heart connection, which is part of our essence. That's how we receive our life force, and it is the way that we can actually learn that we do know everything, and it enables us to move beyond our limiting consciousness.
Interesting. I mean, so in reality, your writings are about what this all means and how we can achieve this realization. I mean, the premise is that we create our reality. Is that really what is taught in the book?
Definitely. Yes. And we do it with just our way of being. The level of energy that we think and feel with creates our energetic signature that interacts with all of the energy patterns in the universe. And in the quantum field, all potentialities already exist. And what we recognize and realize is what we experience as our reality. And that's all done within our consciousness. There's nothing actually out there except energy. We perceive this material world because it appears that way in our own consciousness. And we have control over that ultimately.
That's fascinating. I mean, were the volumes in your books written one after another in order, or were they assembled over much time and then kind of put in order? Explain that.
I've published them as I wrote them. And when I had enough material that I thought would be suitable for a book, then I published it. And then I just kept writing. And I learned more and more as I went along, too, as my awareness opened up and as my own personal limitations began to resolve, and I became aware of a greater reality.
I mean, it's really an ongoing love story, if you will, about life, really. I mean, you said quantum physics brought science and spirituality really into alignment. Should the volumes be read in order? And if so, why? And can we learn by just reading maybe just an individual volume, would you say?
Well, if you're just going to read one, read the first one, because it starts with quantum physics and the whole idea of our interaction with the quantum field and how we actually are able to perceive reality and how we interact with it and how we create our experiences. So it's really important to learn those things before you start reading all of the spiritual stuff, because good basis in what I'm talking about.
Exactly. So volume one is a great foundation, which is a launching board for the rest of them to be understood. I mean, our true nature is pure awareness. We naturally participate in this unity consciousness. This makes for a life filled with divine energy and vitality. Is that really your hope for your readers?
The most that I would hope for would be having everyone become aware of their inner knowing. I would say our inner knowing, because we are all participants in the same consciousness, which is infinite, and we can become aware of it. Our being is essentially localized within universal consciousness, but our awareness is, in our essence, infinite. It's whatever we focus on, and we have the ability to.
Yeah, like you said, it's naturally that we're connected, but we all have free will to engage our awareness with anything that we can imagine. I mean, is this kind of like the law of attraction that we hear so much about? And is that really a small part of quantum physics, would you say?
Well, quantum physics itself is just a way of understanding and perceiving.
Kenneth, in your encounters with others, you are aware of their needs and desires while sending heartfelt love and compassion. You share that we are multidimensional, living in the physical as well as purely energetic realms. Is this rewarding work for you?
Yes. I mean, this is our absolute fulfillment, where we recognize that we have the ability to create anything we want. There is no lack. And so we can attract friends, lovers, abundance, whatever we want into our lives. And we can become aware of our projections in other dimensions, because we are multidimensional. We're not just humans here. We have expressed ourselves in other dimensions too. And it's all concurrent. In the quantum field, there is no time. Everything is in the present moment. And so we can constantly be living in great love and joy and compassion and understanding.
Makes sense. I mean, I've heard it said before, we are not humans having a spiritual experience. We are spirits having a human experience. And I think that's what people need to understand more, that how we are affecting one another. Excellent story. I'm so glad I'm able to share it. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is the website. On his website, basically you can order the books right there. You can go to Amazon as well. And basically where you can dig deeper into his writings and learn more about yourself and the big picture of our life here on Earth. Once again, that is conscious expansion, moving you along the inner path to clarity and truth. This is Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.